There's a version of my life right now that looks, from the outside, like I have nothing going on. No job, no deadlines, no commute, no assigned role. And then there's what a day actually feels like. I've always been an early riser, even now, with nowhere to be. My body wakes itself up around 6:30. Old habit. I used to think that would go away once I left the corporate life. It didn't. Hey, Oscar. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. You see, no snackies. Then, 8段锦, 8 pieces of silk, the old masters called it. I started this practice here, in China, which feels right. There's something about moving slowly on purpose, especially when the world outside keeps telling you to speed up. That feels almost like a small act of resistance. If breakfast hasn't organized itself, which happens quite often, there's a couple nearby who make steamed buns. I've been buying from them since I moved in the neighborhood. Sometimes I linger a little longer to chit-chat with them for a few minutes. It's a small thing, but there's something in that exchange, something familiar and easy that I genuinely missed for years without knowing exactly what I was missing. I used to eat breakfast at my desk. I used to eat breakfast standing up, coat half on, already thinking about the first meeting. Now, I eat breakfast, and I just eat breakfast. You're blocking my camera. You have food, Oscar. The middle part of the day is still the part I'm figuring out. I'm taking an online course right now, learning about my own culture that I never got to go deeper before I left. But without a deadline pushing from behind, I notice how easily time slips. An hour becomes 2. A study session starts late. The gym was supposed to happen this morning, and then somehow it's afternoon or never. I'm not proud of this, but I am also learning not to use it as evidence that I'm failing. Because here's the thing about structure. When you've had it imposed on you for years, same time, same place, same measure of your value, you forget that you actually have to build your own. It doesn't just appear. you have to learn to construct a day the way you want it to look. And that is honestly harder than it sounds. I'm still learning. Some days I get it right. Some days I don't. And some days I land somewhere in between. When the weather is good, I take a walk by the river. This is not exercise. This is not a wellness habit I read about somewhere. This is just a river I like, near a home I chose, in a city I came back to. I walk there because it's there, and because I can. Sometimes my mom comes. My relationship with my parents, it took more time than I expected. Coming home after over a decade, I think I romanticized what it would be like. And they had their own picture of who I was. None of it quite matched the reality. We had to find each other again, the people we had actually become, not the ones we remembered. That took patience I didn't always have. There were hard moments, longer than I want to admit, but we are getting there. Evening is different. Evening has a destination.
Hey, 你好。
Most nights I go to my parents for dinner. My dad cooks.
好吧。
And when I say my dad cooks, I don't mean he puts things together. I mean he cares about it. He's the kind of person who thinks about the meal long before he starts it. The kind of cook who has opinions. The food comes out. We sit down. We eat. We talk about nothing important, daily life stuff. Sometimes my dad talks about something that happened 40 years ago, like it happened this morning. My mom corrects the detail. I tell them something about Europe that makes no sense to them. Someone says the wrong thing. Someone else laughs. Nothing gets resolved. Nothing needs to. After dinner, my mom and I walk. This is a Chinese habit. You eat and then you move, slowly as a family or in pairs, around the neighborhood. I love this habit. I never had it in Sweden. This is a typical day of the week. It is almost unremarkable.
我要回家啦。
哦，好的，
再见
好，拜拜，好，
慢慢走啊。
行。
When I decided to come home, I think I imagined something bigger, something more dramatic, a feeling I could point to. But it's just dinner. It's my dad's cooking. It's a walk with my mom after that. It's buying steamed buns from the same couple every few days and not needing to explain myself to anyone. I spent years building a life that looked impressive from the outside and then felt like a slow drift from the inside. And now I have the opposite problem. From the outside, I have nothing going on. And from the inside, I feel I have everything I came back for. I am 40 years old. I left China in my 20s, built a life somewhere else, and then choose, deliberately, not desperately, to come home. I'm still figuring out what this life looks like, what I do with my days, what I build, and what all this time is actually for. But on a day like this one, that question feels less urgent than it used to. If you've ever lived far from where you started, far from the people who knew you before, then maybe some of this feels familiar. I'm Tia. This is what coming home feels like.